Hello, my name is Anne Iveson and we're here at the 7th Symposium for the Collar Institute of Private Equity with Professor Stephen Kaplan, who is Professor at the University Chicago Booth Business School, heading up their area on entrepreneurship and private equity. Stephen is has no stranger to the Institute and no stranger to the symposium, as he spoke as our keynote speaker at both our first and second symposium. He has a new paper now, which is What Do Private Equity Firms Say They Do?, in which he's comparing and contrasting what we think they should do and what they've said they do in a survey. And there are lots of interesting findings that come from this paper, but perhaps most telling for academics, at least I would say, is that how corporate finance or finance in general has been taught at business schools for the last 20 to 25 years concerning the area of weighted average cost of capital and discounted cash flows. It's interesting to see that the firms do not seem to, private equity firms don't seem to use this very frequently in their investment decisions. So I would be interested to hear, Stephen, what your thoughts are. What does this tell us about what the firms are doing and why perhaps they choose to use alternative metrics?
So it's always a shock. You know, I know the private equity firms do this because in my class I'll run my students through the discounted cash flow methodology, and then after I've done that I bring a private equity investor in, and you know, I don't talk to him or her beforehand, and then you know, I bring them up and I say, well, how do you do your discounted cash flow analysis? And basically every time they say, well, we don't do that. And so the survey findings weren't a surprise to us, although again it's a surprise to academics. And I think the reason that they don't use discounted cash flow is that multiples have served them well. And so when you use exit multiples, which is what they do, they'll look at either comparable companies or comparable transactions. I think over time those comparables have probably tracked the discounted cash flow values. They should, and over time that served them well, and that's what they do. I think they'll also say, you know, when you ask why do you use the comparables or multiples rather than the discounted cash flows, I think they say, you know, generally, well, you know, in discounted cash flows we have to make a number of assumptions that are too easy to manipulate, and it's harder to manipulate the comparables because, you know, they're out there and they're somewhat, you know, there's still some subjectivity, but they're more objective, whereas in the discounted cash flow you have to make an assumption about growth rates, about risk premiums, and there's maybe more mischief or subjectivity involved in them.
And I guess also now it's very much embedded not only on the GP side, but also the LPs are expecting or to see the returns on that basis now. So it's going to be a difficult shift, or?
The LPs, I mean, the LPs are not looking at the analysis of the actual, the exit multiples. What the LPs are looking for is a certain kind of return or multiple of invested capital net of fees. But it's a little bit different. They could get that if the GPs use discounted cash flows or comparables.
Okay, thank you very much for coming to attend the 7th Symposium, and we hope to see you again soon.
You
Thanks
are
very
very
much.
welcome.
Thank
you.
you.